All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. The fundamentals of manipulating text in Illustrator. Since we know this is a popular topic for people, we thought we'd cover it today, and I'm going to tackle that right now. Everybody, you guys see what I got there? Look, just tell me if you know who these people are. What are some of these things? Anyways, some new background stuff. Either way, I'm going to dive into manipulating text, which is a fundamental. I'm going to turn down the music a little bit. There we go. That's probably a lot better. Fantastic. All right. I notice you, Chris Hoffer. Good to have you here. All right. Fantastic. Let's dive into this. Giving everybody a warm welcome. Creative Isle and Bob Donelon in the house. Hello, Bob. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. So I'm going to dive into this. Hello, John, Monet, Ivan, Danielle. I apologize to everybody probably butchering your names except for John. Either way, that's what I'm going to dive into right now. All right, let's just turn that down way low. All right, I just turned off the music. How about that? Hopefully the music wasn't too loud for you. Hopefully we are okay now. Are we good? Cool. I hope so. Fantastic. All right, let's dive into this. I'm going to switch screens. Sorry about that. I want to be conscious of your time and everything. You see what I have going on here. Here I have Illustrator. I have a couple cool just like manipulating text examples that I have in here. And again, these are just some logos that I did not make, but I thought they were pretty cool. I'm really into sort of negative space. So Van Royals VR, I like this. This negative space, the U and the D, like how would you do this? This is all manipulating text right in here with Shift, right? It's all about really the idea at the end of the day, but I'm going to show you how you can manipulate text. The subject I decided to pick was Cuba, but I'd be happy, I'm open to other ideas, but I thought I'd take something and say, hey, you know what can we do? Can we do something fun with Cuba is the idea. So again, tourism to Cuba. Why not? Because as an American, we can go there. So again, here's some text. Where did this text come from? Well, you can open up your properties panel and you can see in the properties panel, you're going to have the different character properties. Okay. Right now, this is just sort of regular line text. Okay. So I can just jump in here and type in what I want. CUBA, right? What if I want that uppercase? Again, I can scale this up. Keep in mind when I scale it up as text, it's going to increase the point size, which is great. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Make Cuba a cube. You guys are funny. That's hilarious. So this is the type of text that we have right here, okay? So it's just the regular text tool. There's an area type tool as well, and a number of type tools in here that you could do a lot with. So you said make it a cube. Yeah, I can, you know, again, with the type tool, I can click and drag, and then I can paste in some IPSUMM. Paste in some lorem ipsum. So we have area text right now, and then we have this point text, right, that we can manipulate. Over here in the properties panel, we get it. If you don't know about this, this is fantastic. Babj and Marco, good to have you here. I don't know if you know of this. I'm going to show you real fast, but it is a variable text. I don't see how that is so. All right. So what this means is I can adjust the weight, the width, and the slant. Now keep in mind, it's actually cycling through all these fonts. Acumen has so many different types of fonts, but I get this nice little slider because what I want to do is I want to make it look fun, but really what I want to do is I'm going to decrease the weight, because right now it's yelling at me too much. So decrease the weight and then decrease the width to make it fit more content in there. Again, depending on your needs is all I'm doing. Say for Cuba right here, selecting it, and then let's make it kind of fun by increasing the slant, as you can see, like that. Apologies there. All right, so that's easy enough. I'm going to go beyond this. Let's have some fun with this. Are you ready for this text, right? I want it to like be more vibrant and dance around a little bit more. So what I can do right in here, I could do area type, I could do type on a path, all these different options. I like touch type tool. It's probably like the newest out of all of these. This allows me to, even though it's still a live font, I can grab this U and bring it up like that. Right, take this B, bring it down right over here. Bring this up like that. Okay, and kind of make it, again, just kind of dance around and be a little bit more unique, right? What if I want to increase the slant of this? I can rotate that exclamation point like that and make it a little larger, right? So I could do this, and by the way, check this out. You ready for this? I can change that text. It's all one line, so I did not break it up at all. I didn't break it up. I didn't create outlines, because that's probably what you're thinking you would do. Hello, Patricia, Javi, and Andrew's in the house. Joshua Fleck, good to have you here, and Sandy. Cool. So this is really cool. I like that I could come in here, and since it's still text, I can change that to an uppercase U or whatever. You get the idea. Cuban. I can say Cuban if I want to, right? You get the idea. It's all still on one line. As you can see, and I don't have to break it apart. But this allows me to kind of, it's called the touch type tool because it's actually for any screens that have touch capabilities. You could basically touch on your screen and move this text around, which is really fun. Okay, so I'd probably add some more color to this and make it a little bit more unique. You might not be crazy about the font itself, so let's go beyond that too. Let me know if you have any questions. Is that not cool, Nathan? Hopefully you like that, right? I hope, John Harmon, good to see you, buddy. But again, this is all on one line. Where did this font come from? Well, most of my fonts came from, Adobe Fonts. So this is typically where I would start. Start with Adobe Fonts, fonts.adobe.com. Hopefully you have access to this as a Creative Cloud member, right? Fonts.adobe.com. I just typed in, Rick Damer, since he's in chat. So you can actually just get a preview of that, as you can see. So we could do Havana, Cuba. I have plans to go to Cuba, is why I'm typing this up. So that's the plan. So get a preview, adjust the size. It's looking pretty good. I want to narrow this down, right? I have my different classifications. I want this to be a heading font. Okay, so right down here I say, you know what? Hey, you font masters at Adobe, formerly Typekit, go ahead and give me a cool heading. So these are going to be the more intricate fonts available to me. And I think Voltage is really fun. Look at that, Voltage, done. Blenny is not bad, but that's what I want to do. So Voltage, keep in mind, is already in Illustrator. Wait, hold on. No, it's not. Let's activate it. All I have to do is click on that. It's activated, Voltage. And now I can go over here to, as you expect, boom. Let's see if I could beat it. Let's see, Voltage. Oh, it is already there. Check that out, boom. There we are. So we could do two different options. I want to get more into manipulating fonts as well, but we have two different ideas that I'm working on. Havana, Cuba, something like that. Try to stack that somehow, and then work from there. Chances are I'd probably want to change this color, but I want to go beyond that right now. What if I want to manipulate this some more? And maybe it's really some of this text. In fact, let's just make sure I have some good options in here. I'm going to go with decorative for the classification, right? And we can see we get some definitely more unique fonts right in here. So look at that, Havana. Right, each font is telling a story, and I'm into it. Oh, see, this is nice. This is called Kontiki Aloha. This gives me a hint as to, what they're going for with the font. And I can clearly see it there. It's a sans serif, but has that playfulness. There's also Wigwag. I'm not going to have the font do all the work, quite frankly. I'm going to do most of the work. Sorry for, by the way, somebody asked if the touch type tool is in Illustrator 2019. It's new, it's not new to 2019. I don't know if it was the first CC version, maybe. I'd have to check, but within the past, 5 years, I'd say. Will the touch type tool work the same way with group selection? Good question. Let me jump back in here. Are you talking about like, if, say for instance, this text here? I don't know if that's what you mean. Let's try it. Touch type tool. And it will for body copy as well. So yes, if I wanted to bring this up and make that unique L right up there, I can do that. So it does work for like paragraph text and all that good stuff. So, okay, so let's move on. Let's do something fun with this. I think this looks pretty good. Chances are I probably want to offset this a little bit. So we'll get into manipulating some of this. And what I'm going to do is, take a look at some of these various effects that I could work on that, like wave, for instance. Wave is something I can add, and as I add it, what it does is it adds it to the appearance right over here. In the properties panel, it adds that as a filter. Okay, so I can obviously still access and say Cuban, for instance, and adjust the leading right in there. Okay, so I can still access the properties. It's basically still text. It's just within an effect right here, this warp wave. If I click on it, notice how I can change that and adjust accordingly like so. And again, I'm really tempted to change the text color, but I'm not going to. All right. From there, let's kind of move on, because you can have some effects that will basically be effects in the appearance or the properties panel under appearance. But you might reach a point where you do need to break it up, right? You're going to have to turn this into basically outlines, right? And that's when it gets into more drastic manipulation of text. Let's take this, for instance, Cuba right here. Let's move this over. Like we all do, we duplicate it. Let me show you this. Check this out. Selecting this, I typically will have to outline it. So type, create outlines. This is what everybody was talking about. All these different points, right? Let me show you something really cool, by the way, before I even do that. Because what if I have this text, and what I want to do is I want to give it a, maybe it has a black stroke and a red fill in this case. This is something you'll run into. You're like, oh, great. This doesn't look good. I want this to all be solid, right? How can I make that all solid? Well, you don't have to turn it into outlines. All you need to do is, with that text selected, you can go right over here. I know it's off my screen, but let me open up the appearance panel, because the appearance panel, I can add a new fill. So this is what you do. You want to, cover all the text in like one color and not have this issue. All you have to do is add a new fill. For this new fill, what is it going to be? It's going to be red. Boom, fixed it. As you can see right there, this is more along the lines of what I want, right? Perfect. And by the way, so again, trying to keep you from outlining text, right? That's the goal. Keep it editable. Keep it as flexible as possible. All right. If I do decide I want to outline it, I can. So let's move this over. Joop. Next iteration. Making it more unique. Showing you a new feature. Again, I'm going to have to break this apart at this point. Let's go to Type, Create Outlines. And now we have these lines, right? All these little Bezier points that we have to manipulate, right? But what we can do here, in fact, what I'm going to first do is I'm going to start connecting everything using the shape builder. I just made this one continuous shape, right? But going beyond that, a lot of people think you have to maybe use a puppet for this tool. But check this out. With text alone, going over here, I could use Puppet Warp, right? So selecting Puppet Warp, I get these individual pins. So rather than applying a warp to it, what I can do is I can control these individual points, right? I want this to come up higher like that, right? I want this to come down a little further, and I'm going to usually put a pin in where I want it to stay still, but I'm going to pull that down and have that come up and add another pin right in there and curve that out like that, right? Giving it just like a lot more style, I think. And it's just so much easier to work with, to be honest with you, rather than manipulating the individual Bezier points, right? I think that's pretty good right there. I'm going to move this one down. Notice how I add control points around it, and then I manipulate the one point I want to move. But that's what I want to do. Look, cool, 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 right? This is Illustrator for you, right? Super cool. That's what I'll do. That has more style than this, because what is this? This is just a straight up font, right? Got some more questions coming in. Let me switch over. Sorry, I'm not putting a cube in Cuban. I think it's too on the nose. Brad, glad. Let me know if you have questions, Brad. It looks like Bloody. How do you create a font in Illustrator? So many good questions. I love all of this. Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to get into that, but I've already lost my train of thought because I was asking or answering questions. So let me click over. Anyway, we can change color of a specific alphabet without having the selection shade that changes it the opposite color. I don't know about the changing the color of a specific alphabet without having this selection shade. Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to help me out and be a little bit more specific. Would be fantastic, right? What else would I do with this right in here, right? I would take this, and you know what I would do? I would, of course, add a gradient to it, right? And keep in mind, I keep going to these different panels. I don't need to. I can literally go right in here and select a gradient right here. Sure. Let's go to my gradient panel and manipulate it accordingly. There's so many more things I can do with this. But again, just adding. I would add just a super subtle little gradient right in here. Really subtle. All right, you get the idea. I do something like that. All right, there we have it done. That looks good so far. We have our other versions, which actually aren't bad. Let's talk about making fonts, because what did I do? Come in here. I kind of made a font here, right? And there's 1,000 other things I want to talk about, by the way. I could do 3D text. I could do all sorts of things, right? We could do that, right? Since somebody asked, I'm going to do it right now. We'll do this right now. I'm going to take a C, be really fast, take this C, call it impact. Here's my C. Here is the C at just a medium color, like so. You want Cuba in the form of a cube, I can go to Effect, 3D, Extrude and Bevel. Right from here, I want to preview it. And then I will do isometric left, right? And then I would adjust the lighting. Take that over there like that, okay? And now what I have, click OK, is this C as in, you ready for this? Double clicking, coming in here. Cuba. Cuba, roughly in the form of a cube, at least getting started right here, okay? So notice how, again, it wraps that effect right here or wraps that font in this effect that I can always change the extrude and bevel and adjust and have it isometric right. Boom. Easy. I usually adjust the lighting when I change that area, and let's make it 100. There you go. Just like that. And from there, eventually what I'm going to have to do is expand appearance and have access to these individual points, maybe colorize it as I recolor artwork, consolidate this down to maybe 3 colors. And since this is Cuba, it has to be brightly colored. So let's crank that up like that. Again, just another take at what we're doing here. In fact, let's have this bright face be nice and yellow. There we go. Another option for what I'm making here. Again, just different options. You get the idea. Cool. Done and done. So I think that's a great idea. Shaw's asking if we could do a typographic logo design. I think that's a great idea. I do. And I think we'll reserve that for another time. Right now, it's all like the fundamentals of using type, right? And we're getting into kind of almost like type effects now, okay? So we could do one more thing. I could really spend all day doing this, by the way. Ellipse tool, zoop, zoop. Take that around. What did I do? Let's get rid of that. Here's my circle. I want to have this type on a path. I can select type on a path tool. All these others should kind of make sense as well, but type on a path is probably the other really popular one, because what do I need to do? Put type on a path right here, click, and now I can say beaches, you know, sand, history, color, classic, escape, fun, you know, cigars, things like that. Cool stuff. You get the idea. All these selling points for Cuba as I surround it with that. Again, kind of more along the lines of a sort of a logo mark, as you can see. And I will talk about that probably another day, which is a great idea. But you get the idea. Making our stamp to go on things, you get the idea. All right, cool. Okay, looks like I've been going for a bit now. I want to be respectful of your time. I usually go for about 20 minutes. How can you transform? Okay, so a couple of different questions. Can you? Hopefully I've shown you how to do everything, like manipulating this text. Now that I had to expand it to start to change all the colors more effectively. So eventually you might have to expand your shape, in which case typically you have 2 of them. You keep your backup and work on that second one, right? But now you can see that it is a solid shape, and there's so many cool things I want to do with this. All right. Stefanku wants me to go for another hour since he just got here. So I don't know if I could do that, but I like where your head's at, right? Anyways, just thinking of different ideas for this now. That's all I'm doing right now. You can change can you manipulate the negative space in text? Yeah, you could always do that, and that's what I love, negative space, like this shift right here. It's really easy to make, right? But adjusting that negative space is where I'd use the touch type tool like I showed earlier, right? Moving that around accordingly. You get the idea. Okay, so here what we did in 20 minutes, we actually have, I would say, honestly, probably about 3 different potential logo directions to go. I think this one's a winner after I would change each one of these letters, by the way. I'd pick different colors for each letter, and then I would give it like a drop shadow, sort of a hard drop shadow, if you will, to make it stand, to give it consistency across the board. But there we go. Boom. 3 done. I like your idea. Next time, I think we could work on making a typographic logo design, which is a great idea. So cool. Thanks so much for watching. Again, just manipulating text in Illustrator. Don't forget, of course, using the type tool, use the touch type tool. You can, once you add your text, you can start to manipulate it and add certain effects like I did over here. And then don't forget, if you wanted to combine letters together, use the appearance panel and overlay it with a color. And then you can get into some even 3D stuff like I show right down here. But you get the idea. Thanks so much for watching. I might work on this some more. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'm going to work on this some more. I'm going to work on this one right up here, okay? And I'm going to post it to Instagram if that works for you. So I'm going to work on this logo sort of mock-up, and I will post to right here to Instagram so you have something to look at, and I can point back to this stream. So that's all I have for you. Everybody have a beautiful day. I appreciate you hanging out. Afroja, Tiff, and JW, and Yazid, and Dan, and everyone. I would have loved to take in the next step and bring it into Photoshop. Again, I didn't have time for that either, but next time. So thanks so much for watching. Feel free to add comments or send me a message on Twitter or Instagram on streams that you would like to see. I already got a request for a typographic logo design, which I think is a great idea. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Be kind to one another. Go give somebody a hug because they probably need it. Everybody's going through something. Thanks so much, everyone.